Okay, so welcome back to Same Place, Worlds Apart. I'm Sabrina.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
No, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how that worked out. Yeah, so I'm Callum. So welcome back. Thank you everybody for coming back.
Today we're going to be talking on theme 2, which is maternity, parenthood, and LES, and we've got 2 amazing guests. I'm gonna start with you, Akilah. If you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Sabrina. My name is Akilah Mohammed, and I am the chair of Maternity Voices Partnership in Lewisham, and I am a mother of 2 lovely daughters.
Excellent. Well, what about you? Who are you? Where you from? I'm joking.
Lewisham, born and bred.
Hey.
My name is Jamel Campbell. I'm an early years educator, consultant, and author. Been in the early years for around about 24 years now. And yeah, man, I'm all things early years. So yeah,
Excellent.
blessings.
Right, so let's get into it. So obviously everyone's read the report. I'll be honest with you, when I read this report, it really made me feel some type of way. So I've got 3 children. My eldest is 17, but I've had issues myself when I was going through maternity, but reading, and again, I was one of the advisors on this, it really broke my heart. And it really saddened me to see that these things are happening in our time. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much medical information and things that we can tap into, and people are in the know now. But it's like when it comes to us and our maternity and our early years, they're just not taking heed. And I feel like they're not listening. They're just not hearing what we're saying. So obviously, open conversation. How did you lot feel when you read this report, this part of the reports? Anybody?
You wanna?
No, go on.
Okay, I agree with you, Sabrina. You would think by now, our world, our society has changed a lot. Like, we have new technology now. We have new knowledge into this field. Like, this isn't something new. So I am surprised that, our rates are still getting higher and higher and higher as we're going along, especially being a black woman myself, being a mother myself, and, to know that this can and will continue unless we do something about it very, very soon. And it's a case of, what do we need to do? It's just taking a handle on it, like enough speaking about it. This, people have been speaking about this for a very, very long time. It's now coming to light even more and more in the media, as we've been seeing recently. But it's scary to think that, the media can show this, but what are they really doing about it? Like, it's governed by, by so many different people, and yet people are still sitting there and watching this happen. We need to actually do something about it right now. So
I hear that.
Yeah.
So what were you saying? How did you feel when you read it?
Yeah, man. Like, do you know when you read these documents, like the BLACHIR is another example of how much disparity there actually is. David Lammy done the disparity report. The figures are there. Runnymede have done reports as well. And it just shows that, like, do the powers that be really care? And how are they, like, creating mediums to empower the people to make solutions as well? Do you know what I'm saying? And provide the relevant services or projects and such to make relevant change. And, they've got all these programs and whatnot that exist right now. They're like, we want change, we want this, charities and such. But this has been years and years of this rubbish. Do you know what I'm saying? And even in the tabloids, you saw, I think it was last week or the week before, about the lady in
Birmingham.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Liverpool?
Liverpool, and there was 2. They had 2, like, recently, and it's just like, come on, man. What are we doing? So, yeah.
I hear it. So
just to bring context to that, for those that don't know, it was a lady that passed while giving birth. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, you should.
And the findings were such that she passed essentially because of the neglect and the racial element to it is led to neglect, which is what led to her passing. And this is 2024, and this report was done in 2021.
yeah.
So
So Akilah, with the work that you do, could you tell us a bit more So you named it, but could you give us what that means?
Oh, okay. So Maternity Voices Partnership, for short, that's MVP. And basically it brings families, women, fathers, expecting mothers all together to hear their stories, to hear their voices so that we can improve the services. And that's all in collaboration with other professionals. So from midwives to nurses, doctors, head of, midwifery, everybody comes in together so that we can make these services better. And whilst being chair, and even before, because I came in there as a service user, as a chair, you have to be a service user to or be a chair. But obviously, because of my experiences, is what led me to be involved with MVP. And I personally saw from my own personal experiences what a difference it makes to share, to have somebody listen, and to actually see what you said, something is actually being done about it. It's so important not to just hear this information and just sit on it and not do nothing about it. And it's beautiful. And I love the fact that, well, now that I am chair, that I can, continue that amazing work, advocate, listen and see the different changes that are being made, for women now and in the future. For me, that's everything and more, because, just hearing this and seeing this, no one wants this. You don't want this for your sister. You don't want this for your niece. You don't want this. And it's not nice. And when it comes to maternity, it doesn't just affect the woman. It affects the child. It affects, the father, partner. It affects the whole family. It's a really big thing. And it's nice feeling like, you're actually making significant changes, to have a better future. It's really, it's phenomenal. Yeah. So, I always say it's really good to get involved. Like, you don't, a lot of people are shy to give a voice. And anything that you have to say is important. Don't ever make yourself feel like, what I have to say is irrelevant to what other people have to say. No. Just like the professionals listening and they're giving feedback and, taking away those changes and then coming back and being like, okay, so this is what we've done. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And it just takes a moment as well. A moment. So yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I want to get us to go deep into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the key findings.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read some of these out, and usually I read out the opportunities for action as well. But guys, have you seen opportunities for action on this?
Oh yeah.
We might have to do it like a class and everyone read a sentence each. Because it's a lot. Even the key findings, I'm just like, where do you start? So risk of stillbirth in the UK, Black British babies are 2 times more likely at greater risk of being a stillbirth compared to white babies. Risk of maternity mortality, like we spoke of, Akilah gave a brief understanding of what happened recently. Black mothers are 5 times more likely compared to white mothers to die whilst giving birth. I think that's, yeah. So I'm an emotional person as well. No, when we did the mental health thing, I was trying to hold back the tears, but this is real. This is real stuff that happened to our people. And then the good level of development and children in reception. White children 72%, black children 68%. And I always say this, I mean, this was put together in 2021, but I feel like in 2024 things have changed a lot. Yeah. And I kind of feel like some of these figures may be a lot different now. Yeah. I mean, in the line of work that we do in terms of advocacy, we're getting cases of reception kids getting excluded from school. Yep. And it's mad. So I just want to kind of touch on that. What do you see when it comes to early years and what's happening for our young black pupils and students?
Do you know what it is? Wait, let me just touch on what Akilah was talking about as well, about experience. Like, I've recently become a father. Yeah.
Congrats.
Congratulations. And thank you. Little man's obviously he's of age now. He's 2. He's turning 2 end of March. Yeah. But the whole experience, this is all new to me. You know what I mean? I've been in early years for a long time, working with children, like thousands of children. But when you have your own, it's so different. And I was there through the whole birthing situation. So I was there in the room helping to support her and guide her and give her, that care that she needed, in addition to the midwives and things like that. And it's such an integral time, such an important time, because, you know, as well as the mother being under stress, you know, the child could be caused stress as well through the process, you know, and you have all of these different, like, people coming in, students, oh, can we come in, because they haven't seen a natural birth and all of these kind of things. And when I read these facts and figures, or I hear facts and figures, I'm just like, oh my days. Imagine what it's like for those mothers that don't have the support. They don't have family members present in those rooms, the birthing room, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the nurses were coming up to me like, oh, we're going to do this, you know? And I'm like, nope. We're going to do that. Nope. We want to have a student in. Nope. Can we do, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, what do you think, babe? Do you need blah, 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 blah? Goes, all right, I need this. All right, cool. Can you do that, please? You know, so the family and support of partners and people is so important, man. And having that monitored as well is so important. But now just bringing it forward to early years, what we got is dysfunction, community dysfunction, yeah? Where children, especially black children, are adultified. They're not seen as kids. And I'm seeing that with my little man. Do you know what I mean? Like, other little children would do things, but then you would hear, oh, he's doing this, or he's done that. And it's like, in my head, obviously as practitioner, educator, I'm like, that's normal though. Do you know what I'm saying? But you don't want to, you know what I mean? You don't want to sound like, oh, like I know it all or anything like that. You want to come across as a parent, and they know what you do. They know your practice, you know what I mean? So it's like straight away, there's kind of like a thing, you know what I mean? A vibe. And I'm just like, come on, give me proper feedback. Like, what's going on? What's happening? And there's something that I witnessed, when we just come back from Turkey. There was a family, and there were two little boys, they were playing and whatever, and my little man went over and was trying to interact with the older boy. The older boy was very receptive, All of a sudden, the younger ones come over, said something to the older boy. The older boy then got up, ignored my son, and walked off and went to his mum and dad. My son then walked around the table and followed them, and they were sitting at a table together, their whole family. Then what happened next was the family then stood up. There was a balloon on a chair. They untied the balloon. I thought, oh, they're going to give my son a balloon. They gave the balloon to their son and walked off, didn't acknowledge my son. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is, this is Turkey, obviously, but the way that black children are viewed, they're not viewed as children. They're not acknowledged. It's not like, oh, you're so cute, you're so nice. No, they're seen as what they're portrayed as. Black boys are portrayed of in the news.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? As these gang members, as these, these deviants. Do you get what I'm saying? And you can hear it by the way they're spoken to within the classes. And, going through the schooling system myself, like you as well, do you get what I'm saying? You know how that feels. And imagine for a child that's 2 years old that doesn't understand yet what that feeling is, but they know that something's going on. What happens? You reject it. You don't connect with the setting. You don't connect with the teachers. You just know you're doing something to me. And I just I need to do something to get that feeling out of my system.
Yes.
And then there's a behavior, and then that behavior is seen as disruptive. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can't manage this child. You need to leave the setting because you're disruptive and you're challenging. So what I'm describing is an overall feeling, overall vibe,
Yeah.
What you're talking about is this is one of the reasons I like reports, because it validates people's experience, because we're gaslit so much. And I always say from TV, like racism exists from the cradle to the grave. Like, it doesn't start when like they're 7, when they're 13, or when they first acknowledged as being naughty. If you don't see us as human, it's very easy to just be like, okay, well, this is how we treat them, because I love what you were saying about like it must be so hard for people who don't have that support with them, because the advocacy is so necessary. and the reports never pick up on the neglect that happens when the mother doesn't pass. So you hear countless stories of people that say, that weren't right. Like, okay, my birth was good, give thanks, but something happened there that wasn't right. And it's not picked up on. And it always, like, a lot of the time it's undermined, it's belittled, and there's this massive level of gaslighting that happens from the cradle to the grave. Like you said, the child is saying they can't express it, they can't articulate it, but they know within themselves something's not right here. I receive love at home, I receive love at my grands, I receive love at my aunties. When I come here, I don't. There's a disconnect here with how this adult is treating me, and adults are supposed to be safe. So you get what do you get? You get the behavior. So I just wanted to just highlight that. For me, this is why reports are so important, because it validates people's experience when they say, I've been through this, and everyone says, nah, man, or that's normal. And it's actually, we can expect a better normal. We can create a different normal, and we can have a better normal. And I just wanted to just touch on that.
No, I agree with you. And if you look at, like, because obviously there was an element of this where they went out into the community and asked them what they thought. And I feel like it's the same sort of themes going throughout. So, like, lack of cultural awareness, conscious and unconscious bias. And I know for me, it's in here somewhere, but for me, again, going back to that, not listening and thinking that our pain threshold is higher than normal people. So when I'm telling you, no, something's happening, my waters are going to break, or I'm ready, and they're like, no, you're not there yet. Until they look and they're like, oh my God, you are. But why don't they listen?
Stop assuming.
Yeah. So with the work you do, what changes have you made already? So when you look at this report, is there anything that you think has developed since this?
Well, in regards to this report and what I know of, especially in our borough, women's feedback is being taken into consideration. Feedback is really important, but we have to also look at feedback, in everything that we do. When we're given something to fill out, whether it's by mandatory or, how many of us are really filling out these forms? Especially the people that actually need to be heard. How many of us are filling out these forms? Because these are the forms that then come down to then how the service is then catered for, minorities. You understand? And these are the things that we actually need to look about. Like, don't feel like you shouldn't be involved. You need to be involved in everything. There's no exclusion here at all. But, something needs to be said. Like, let's think about this. Like, I'm a BLACHIR, and that is really good representation, especially in the borough of Lewisham. That's what we need, and I know, say for example, my experience, I didn't sit on it to be like, oh, this is the norm or anything like that. When I was going through pregnancy, I didn't pretend like I knew what was going to happen. I went and did my research. Not everything is available, or you can just find it just like that on the internet. Like, sometimes you need to ask those questions. So when you think you're being told everything, ask. And ask again. Like, don't feel scared to, because, you assume that the information that is being given to you is for everyone. No, that's not necessarily correct.
Yes.
Yeah? All of us are all different. We're all different. And there's
Bermany.
Sorry. We're all in need of something different. So you have to recognize that, like, if a mother has sickle cell, how different is your birthing plan going to be to someone that doesn't have sickle cell? These are things that we need to tap into. Gestational diabetes. What things do we do as African Caribbean people in our households? How can we change that? There are now programs out there that now teach women, like, how to adjust their recipes. These recipes that come down from, our great grandparents, parents, and there are tweaks that are needed to be made, especially in today's society, our food is not the same, you know, our salt intake, like all of these things that we need to reconsider. Like now you're carrying a human being inside your system. What do you need to put inside your body to really get from A to B?
Yeah.
You understand? Feeling like, yeah, I've got this, you know, cut down the salt a little bit, cut down the sugar a little bit, you know, recognizing and listening to our bodies. That's another thing as well. A lot of people don't listen. Or we get told, actually, you know, like our mothers, our grandmothers have been through this already. You can give them your signs and symptoms. A lot of us do that instead of going to professionals. Yeah, we ask our community, like I got this little twin chair. It's just heartburn. It's just heartburn. You know, you hear
Drink
that.
some tea.
Yeah, like have a little bit of ginger. You know, all of those kind of things, and that's great. But obviously, there are new things that are happening that we're not aware of, and sometimes you do need to go and ask a professional, and that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
Just ask, just to be on the safe side, because that could always make or break.
Yeah.
You understand?
How early should we be engaging? And because I've always had this thing where I think we engage people way too late, and we're engaging people with sort of the support they should have and the knowledge that they should have when they're expecting mothers or when they're expecting fathers. And I think this kind of education should happen way before. I think like that sort of idea of sort of holistic health, holistic well-being, understanding what sort of foods you should be eating, what sort of lifestyle is going to make things, should be something that should be considered way before. And I think what I find difficult is like, you know, like there's always been this sort of age-old, quite misogynistic value in this country where it's like women are supposed to be mums, so we're going to teach you how to be a mum and be in the kitchen. And it's like, no, that it's moving away from that and teaching the boys and the girls what does holistic health look like, whether you want to be a mum or not, whether you want to be a dad or not. What does engaging with these services look like in sort of all walks of life, but particularly in relation to sort of like, I think we're engaged. I feel like there's, and I don't know what the question is. I know I asked it a little bit, but it's sort of like, when should we be engaging people to start scrutinizing and really digging deep into the services that serve them and the questions that they should be asking? Because I think we're doing it a little bit too late.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Like, you know, like, if with me, like, especially like now being in this role and hearing about all the different things, and my mind is now opening, like something as simple as this. Like before, people used to plan pregnancies, you know, sit down with somebody, talk through it and everything. A lot of that is not happening right now, because just imagine all the things that you could find out beforehand, how to prepare yourself. It's not, nowadays, a lot of people are thinking about, do I have enough money to bring a child into this world? Do you understand?
Yeah, that's
not,
very true.
is my body ready? Is my mind ready?
Yeah.
Is there anything I need to do before going into this? Like, these are the things that we now need to think about, because if we neglect to those things, you know, it's easy to continue to neglect those things. It's always an afterthought when it should be the first thought that you should have. Yeah. And there are professionals out there that you could do that with. Plan. And it's not even like you have to have a baby right then and there. It could just be a thought that you're having with your partner or your husband or whatever. Just sit down and go and speak with someone, and it's for both of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's like a just in case, you know, so that obviously surprises happen. As mothers, fathers, we all know this, yeah? Nothing ever goes the way you want it to go, but at least you have an idea.
Yeah.
At least you're prepared that way.
Yeah.
So I think we need to put that out there more.
Yeah.
Like us as a people, we can do that too.
Yeah.
We can do that, and we need to.
Absolutely.
I was thinking, I know when I was younger, there was like more available for us to tap into. So I know that the area I live in, Lewisham, there was like a sexual health drive.
Yeah.
And we all had to go to our GPs, and there was like a program we all took part in, and we learned all these things. But now my son's at this age, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's like, we're having to, obviously I was going to do it anyway by having these conversations with him, but there's no opportunity for them to be in a space with people their age and have these open conversations.
Yeah.
A lot of them are hearing their sexual health stuff through their friends. And
Yeah.
some of these friends have no idea.
None.
idea.
And
Yeah.
especially like I've heard some stuff that people around me have said, younger people, and I'm like, no, that is not okay. Why did you think that was a thing? But again, if you're not given opportunity to be in a space with someone that actually knows, you're gonna make this stuff up.
And they're having the conversations young.
Yep.
Yes.
Very young.
They are having these kind
Primary
of
school.
conversations young.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think there's two things that's being said there. Is the accountability.
Yeah.
You know, accountability as us as adults. You get me, acknowledging the fact that we need to do more. And I think one thing I noticed is there was like a dependence on our elders. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even within myself, like I've noticed, like since certain family members have passed away and that, it's like us lot, we've had to kind of step up, like the older ones, like we're taking place, we're controlling things, we're doing things, we're organizing things, and even stepping in with the younger cousins. You know what I'm saying? So, we need to get this person needs help in Jamaica, or this person needs a bit of advice. Have you spoken to them? Do you know what I'm saying? So stepping forward and being accountable. In terms of the sexual side of thing, I think we need more, how do you say it? Presence. You know, do you remember like there was a time where like, you know, the family would gather?
Yeah.
Yeah, all at nanny's house or at aunt's house or whatever, and food's getting cooked up, and the man them are in a room
Reasoning.
playing dominoes or Ludi or whatever and reasoning. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of the youth don't spend enough time with their grandparents, don't spend enough time with their elders. And it's a beautiful thing. Now, when I'm at my dad's house and I'm hearing some of the big man them talk and we're reasoning, I'm like, yo, I never saw it like that, you know? I never thought of it like that. But hear this, in this day and age, did you know this? And they're like, raw. So it's like each one teach one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And my son loves spending time with his granddad. Do you get what I'm saying? Like doing stuff and going out in the garden and things like that. So we need to bring it back to the basics. You get what I'm saying? And to show them that like there's wealth, true wealth and equity with spending time with your elders.
Absolutely.
And elders spending time with the young ones.
And even bringing it back to sort of what I like to do. I like when we talk about our accountability, but I also like to think about how can public health be involved in that, engage in that. And what you said as well, like a lot of social spaces are missing now. You don't have them. And I think there's never been a real conversation around the value of these social spaces, whether it's youth clubs, whether it's community buildings. They're just seen as sort of like luxuries rather than essentials. When in actual fact, they stop a lot of the stuff happening later on. They are massive preventable sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Things that could be introduced to the community that would prevent a lot of the problems that happen later on.
Because I know that there's family hubs popping up now.
Oh yeah.
Are they everywhere in all the primary care network areas?
Pretty much.
Okay, because I went to one of the launches, but then I went in there and I thought, how many black people are going to use this service?
Very true.
How many are going to tap into this?
Oh yeah.
Because apparently there was one available when I was pregnant. And I was like, really? No one told me.
I think
So how many of us are getting access to that service?
There's and I think it's been happening a long time. Like, I know that many black mothers don't feel like they belong in a lot of these family hubs, which is really upsetting to hear. I might be a different kettle of fish, but I literally said I'm not missing out on anything, you know. But I've always been like that.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's not even about comfortability, it's about what I'm about to take away from this experience. And I understand not everybody thinks like that, but I feel like it's important. Yeah, it'd be really nice just to have, you know, a black and Caribbean or black and African, you know, all of that groups. But still at that same time, it's really nice to mix with all different mothers, because we all share different experience. And actually, funny enough, you'd be surprised when you speak to other mothers and they actually share the same thing as you. And some have overcome, some are still going through. And at least that way you'll be able to, you know, feel like you're being heard. Feel like, okay, actually, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, you know, and that's the whole purpose of that. Like, I know myself, I've made some amazing friends out of that. Even the smallest thing like childcare is one of the biggest things that we have an issue with. Simple things like gaining somebody's trust and really feeling like actually you can hold me down and I can hold you down. How can we help each other out? You understand?
Yeah.
So you still feel like you can live, you can be when you're tired and you just need a bath. And your friends are like, I understand some of them are working, but then you've got some other mothers who are off like you are, who will come and sit with your baby whilst you go and have a bath.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's important. And it's one of those things, if you don't try, you won't know. And that's what we need to put out there. It's for everyone.
Yeah.
I understand cliques and all of this kind of stuff. We're not in the school playground no more. It does happen, but you don't have to get yourself involved in that.
Yeah.
You can be in and out. You can mingle if you want to. You can get your information and go. So many different things you can do.
Yeah.
You understand? Stop like limiting yourself.
Yeah.
Is a problem.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Before I go over to parenthood in early years, I kind of wanted to know, because I feel like we're more of the different generation to you two, kind of.
All right.
And I look good though, innit?
Yes, you do.
Good water, you know.
I had a 21-year-old the other day say to me, "Yeah, because you lot's generation."
Listen,
I was like, "You lot."
Yeah, you come
lot.
of age
I
for
was
them
like,
to do that.
yo,
Yeah.
when she said that, it hurt me. And I was like, what do you mean, you lot? I was like, I'm down with the kid. Do you know
saying
what I
down
mean?
with the kids don't
She was
make it
like-
even
she was
sound better.
like, she said, no, uncle. I said, oh my God.
Yeah, man's been
You
called
put
uncle
yourself in that
still.
bracket
Man's
as
called
well.
uncle.
Oh,
And there ain't
I
even a
couldn't
family member that's
believe
like,
it.
uncle. I'm just, what?
I couldn't believe it.
bro, what do you mean, uncle?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm going to tell you lot something offline about feeling older at some event I went to recently.
Oh, gosh.
But I was going to say that there's, in like my age group, there was a lot of us that had children quite young.
Yeah.
And for me, there wasn't much in Lewisham.
Yeah.
So I had my child at the time out of the borough. I went straight to another hospital in South London because I just felt that Lewisham just wasn't nothing going on. If you may not be able to answer this, but I'm still going to ask it. Are you finding that there's more support out there for young mums, expecting mothers, that you guys are able to support?
Well, from an MVP standpoint,
Yeah, of course.
I definitely think there is.
Okay.
And I feel like if there's questions that they need answering, it's a great place to ask that question, because there will be a professional that will know the answers, that will be able to lead you in the right direction. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the MVP. Like, no, there isn't a question that cannot be answered. The amount of midwives that are there representing, and also like different projects that are starting up. This is the first-hand place where you're actually going to get to find out what's going to be happening, what's changed from the last time, you know, what's been noted from previous either attempts or experiences to why they've now, you know, the way they're now doing the program now. Like, say for example, we were speaking about it earlier on, like including different women from different backgrounds is really important, especially if there's a language barrier, whether it's cultural reasons. There are now inclusive things like within the groups, whether, you know, translators, written in a different language. These are all things that are changing the way these services work and the engagement of women with professionals, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are things out there. It's just a case of knowing when, but it's out there.
But when you say it's out there, because I feel like we hear this a lot, there's things you can tap into, but where do we go to find this information? Is it given to you like, I don't even know if they still do bounty packs, but is it given to you like that? They still do bounty packs, but also like you can ask your midwife, you know, like you have your booking sessions, also health visitors, especially after you have given birth as well. They'll be able to have this information, and especially a lot of the hubs that you would go to, they will have like a list of places that you can go that will support
age groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel that there should be like you're saying if I ask, then I'll get, but how do you know? Sometimes you don't know what to ask for.
No,
I feel
real.
like it should just be like, here you go. Some things in there you may not need, but there's everything that's available to you in Lewisham.
No, definitely. But when you leave, like say for example, a hospital, normally you're given like a pack of information, like so that you can look through, obviously in your own time, like on how to recover, like support, like for mental health and all of those kind of things. So a lot of that information would be in that, and if it's not, like as I said, like you would obviously have that opportunity. There's so many platforms online as well and apps that you can speak to. Tiny
Happy People's good with the BBC.
Yeah, like there's different mother groups that you can go on and just be like, okay, I don't know where to start. Let's start from here. I'm, just introducing yourself. There'll be mums that can tap into that and be like, do you know what? This person might not know everything. So actually, let me throw this out because you might not know. Even like a lot of schools now, especially like primary schools, if a list of family hubs and activities that are happening, they now send it out on like School Ping. Which is really, really, it's a great platform to have because if somebody doesn't have someone in school, you can then share that. You can share that information out, and that's
And can I add something? Obviously, I'm not a mother, but from what I saw with because our midwife was based at the Waldron, New Cross. And I think it depends on the midwife as well, because we had a really good midwife. Like, I can't remember her name, but bless you, like, trust me, she gave a lot of advice. And when you go on they have the red book, but they have the website. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all the appointments were there, different things you could go to, perinatal massage and all the perineal massage, all them kind of things, their classes. And do you get what I'm saying? Like, like you're learning bare things that you never knew about. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like it's really important to have like the right people providing the service as well. And there's another thing I've noticed as well, that's been a change. I spoke about this with a team. Illustrations. A lot of the time when midwives are being trained, they don't see illustrations of black fetuses and wombs and all those kind of things. But there was a guy called Chidibe Ibe from Nigeria. He created pictures of the black fetus, wombs, bruises, bumps, all those kind of things, because black people, our genetic makeup is different to obviously our counterparts, you know what I mean?
And it looks different.
And it looks exactly, do you know what I'm saying? So, man, there's been steps, small steps.
Definitely.
Wow. I feel like I don't know any of those things. Like,
I'll send you the.
No, it's easier. I don't have no more children. I'm good. Don't worry, mate.
Not even just for,
of course, to pass it on to others.
But not even just that. Like even like a simple rash. You type in Google, you're gonna see obviously maybe
the gloss,
like measles and stuff, how it presents.
How it looks.
And everything looks different. Like it might look red on one person, and it might look purple or brown. And, so. It's a great indicator. So.
And that was part of what he done as well, isn't it? The rash,
the rashes,
black skin,
Like fantastic. Even like when the color of your lips, like when someone dies and stuff, like our lips are different color to say like a white person.
Jeez. I feel like I learn so much each time I have a lesson. Like I've lived under a rock or something. Wow. So when we look at the parenthood and early years, some of the things that it was saying is that our children are not ready to start school yet. Why? I mean, there's loads of different things that can come into this. And especially if the mum has had a really hard time with her pregnancy and maybe she's had postnatal depression and maybe she's living in a deprived area, maybe she's still in a hostel and not got a property yet. And then this child now is of an age where they've got to go to school. So I feel like there's loads of socio-economic things that affect our children, but no one's necessarily picking it up. And I feel like if a child starts school, and not suggesting this is the case, but if they want like free school meals, I know that some schools have now got it where all kids are getting free school meals, but I feel like these things should be picked up on. You notice it. I know with me, my children, you notice the kids that mum was struggling and the trousers are still from maybe last year. But I feel like some schools are not picking up on that and having a conversation. And I feel like the use of PTAs as well should be having a key connection with the parent and the school. So I've said a lot of things and I don't remember what my question was. But yeah, my question was, why do you think this is happening? And what could we do as a community? As much as public health are obviously the driving force behind this, like you said, as a community, we need to do more. So yeah, does anyone get what my question actually was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the question basically was, what are children not ready to start primary school? What could we be doing as a community to help and support each other?
And what can schools be doing?
Yeah. Thank you, Callum.
You want-
You want to go for it? Yep.
No, you can go first.
So this is something that like I've spoken about and I've written about. The first thing is there's been a big change since the pandemic.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these children have been born into a world where, you know, quarantine,
Yeah.
you know, in their house. And when they do go out, people in masks, you know, not being able to socialize outside of the family unit. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like children learn from what they see, you know, so they're not seeing much. And then when they get thrown into a classroom environment, it's like, whoa. It's a lot. Do you know what I'm saying? Children running up and down, like it's busy, people that they don't know, people that they can't connect with. And what I've written about is how we can form positive relationships. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, the children's centres, you know, socialising now that we can socialise. And also just giving children time. You know, do you know how much children actually go into primary school and they're not toileted? Yeah,
And you're supposed to be as well.
and it's supposed to be. I can't remember the facts and figures, but it's crazy. And what Ofsted have done, they've put together this new report. I think it's got like 3 parts, and it's about the recovery after the pandemic. And they're talking about the fact that children in their personal, social, and emotional development, like they're way behind what they're supposed to be.
Definitely.
You know, and especially like when it comes to us, you know what I mean? We're already got all these different dynamics that are affecting us. And then on top of that, now we've got this whole COVID thing. And in a lot of settings as well, children are not connecting to the setting because they're not seeing themselves. So for instance, staffing, you know, is not diverse. Resources are not diverse. So you come from being in your household where you're hearing Dennis Brown and you're getting green banana and curry goat and chicken and whatever, and then you go into a nursery and they're trying to serve you lasagna. It's not for you. You're not hearing or seeing or smelling the things that you're used to. The teachers don't look like you. They don't understand you. They just think you're, you know, as I said before in the beginning, you're just giving behaviors, you're just acting away.
And to even just to cut you, just to add some context to that, some of the schools in the areas we're talking about are reporting up to something like 89% black children and young people. So it's not a far reach for these expectations to be happening, for that to be a consideration. I don't want people to listen to what you're saying and say, oh, but it's England. But no, we're talking about catering for a very specific community with very specific statistics.
Exactly.
You know, but you go and continue, bro.
Exactly. And me, like, just to give you a bit of scope of the things that I do, like I go to settings all around the country, Manchester, Leeds, Kent, Birmingham, wherever it is, do you know what I'm saying? And I go there and consult and advise them, you know. And it's small things like representation in children's literacy, you know. Just up till now, it was like 4 or 7% of children's books had a black character as their main character in it. 7%.
Wow.
And now it's kind of come up a little piece, but animals were represented more than well, they say BAME characters. So imagine that you just encapsulated all characters that ain't white. Do you know what I'm saying? And then imagine that's in a school. And then you're seeing there's other little facts and figures about people that actually write these books and create these books, you know. Like schools will have a book like Hand of Surprise, but it's not written by a black person. Do you get what I'm saying? So they're not hearing, seeing, you know, there's nothing there to kind of inspire them, motivate them, make them feel connected. Now things are slightly changed. You know, a lot of the big publishing houses are taking on black writers and illustrators and stuff. And now you are seeing in more settings, you know, on ground level, there are more there's more diversity, but there's still a long way to go within these settings. Like black men like myself in early years, we're like 0.5% of the workforce. Men in general are like 3%, you know, so there's no balance. A lot of these homes, they don't have a male in their home. So the young boys don't have no one to model themselves afterwards. The girls, they don't have a father figure to kind of feel that, you know what I mean? So when they meet people like myself or some of my male colleagues, it's like, wow, you know? So yeah, man, there's a lot we can do within the home in terms of preparing children, you know, showing them videos or reading books. There's so many books. I wrote a book recently, it's called Olu's Teacher. It's coming out July the 4th. Thank you very
Add
much.
the link in description.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and it's actually about like a young boy starting nursery. And, you know, he sees the teacher and at first he's scared. It talks about how he's anxious about starting nursery. It's like, oh my gosh, what's he going to be like? Is he like a dragon? Is he this and that? And then the child then makes a connection. He says, oh, my teacher looks familiar. I know why my teacher looks familiar. He looks just like me. You know what I mean? And a lot of children don't get that, you know? So, yeah.
I love that. Oh, wow. I could, right.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it together till after, sorry. I was going to go looking at the opportunities for action. So there's 5 for this specific section. And like I said at the start, we're going to do it like school. So do you want to start Callum a sentence? No, I'm joking.
I was going to do it as well, you know. Look at me, like, yeah, pass the textbook, please. I forgot mine at home.
You can do
So obviously these are the opportunities for action that within public health and, you know, the ICS and the powers that be, that they're going to take heed on and try to implement within our borough. But again, there's things that probably need to be added because time's gone on, but also there's opportunities for action that we can be doing for ourselves in the community. So one of them, I mean, that's quite a long paragraph, so I'll apologise now. Address any gaps in existing maternity and paediatric health professionals training, including topics of cultural awareness, learning from lived experience, awareness of inclusion practice and policies, and awareness of trauma caused by racism and discrimination and how to deliver sensitive care. I am going to ask someone else to read the next one. Anyone? Number 2.
Local integrated care systems. Co-design online tool with communities to collect information on beliefs, cultural practices and traditions from ethnic groups. This resource could then be used for training to inform practice and communication with patients and service users.
Excellent. Next person, please. Second. I'll go. So, improve data collection by specific ethnicity in maternity and early year services, considering the differences in ethnic backgrounds and nationality. Work with professionals who represent the ethnic minority groups to ensure a sensitive approach when collecting data. And then number 4, support all women who are migrants, refugees and asylum seekers, particularly those with no access to public funds, to access appropriate care during and post-pregnancy through appropriate support and protecting them from relocation and eviction. And the last one, develop culturally specific and appropriate weaning support initiatives for Black African and Black Caribbean parents. I know that's a lot. It's a lot, but I feel like it's a good step forward. Definitely. And I feel like when it spoke about the ethnic representation, about data collection, because we're all different, we're in a homogenous group of people. Just because our skin tone may be similar, some of us have different backgrounds and different things going on, and to paint us with the same brush, and it's not the same. Because even when we were speaking at the beginning and I said, oh, did you make roti with your curry chicken? Do you know what I mean? And someone else might go, we don't have to, just put some spinners in it. But so as Caribbeans, we're all different. I know for yourself as well, because you're Trini, right?
Yeah, half and half, man.
There
Trini
you go.
and Jamel,
There you go. So but all our cultures are all very different. So, but how do you guys feel about this? Do you think these are the right steps, or do you think there's missed opportunities here that, they could be looking at?
No, I definitely feel that it is the right steps to move forward. It's just a case of it actually being like getting done. Because I feel like actions are actions that have been put out there, whether it's in a whole report or whether it's just with a certain organisation. You know, it's just a case of doing it and doing it well so that you get everyone.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand, like who within the data did you collect more of? Because that's also an issue that we're constantly having. There's a gap that needs to be filled in terms of, as I was saying at the beginning, like about feedback. Feedback is really important. Like, don't neglect to have your opinion heard. You know, because this data, you don't want to be missed out on this data, because actually it could change the game completely.
Literally, yeah.
If it's added to it.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that, it looks like on the data that it seems lower than what it actually is. And in hindsight, actually, it's a lot higher than that.
Yeah.
Because a simple thing, that feedback hasn't been collected by this group or that group or by that group. And yeah, I love, you know, the parts about, you know, migrants and refugees.
Yes.
Like,
Big need.
really big.
Yeah.
Like, going into these places, like Women's Aid and stuff like that, to, you know, speak with these women. Like, just imagine people that feel like they can't get care.
Yeah.
You know? And then what happens to them and their child and their overall well-being? Those factors, are they really being dealt with from the very beginning, or is it being left, you know, too late once again?
Yeah.
And I think I think in 2024 we've probably got a duty to mention why England is responsible for catering for migrants, refugees, etc., particularly post Priti Patel and Suella Braverman, who sort of like boosted the far right, you know, voices in this country and brought out a lot of what I'll just quite frankly overt racism. It's important for us to explain why England is actually responsible for catering for these, because these crises where refugees are created wouldn't exist without the colonial empire of Britain. Do you know what I mean? And I just wanted to add that in there, because people might be thinking, but we need support. Why are we worrying about immigrants when actually they're just as much a part of the community as us? We're children. I'm a child of a migrant. All of us in here are children of migrants. Do you know what I mean? So in one way or another, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the empire. The British Empire and its colonial history and its colonial ties. So it's just important just to add that in there, you know.
Because I kind of want to just touch on the data collection, because I know I was the type of person that I'm taking other. You don't need to know nothing about me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it boils down to trust. Where's this data going?
No, very true.
Who's holding it?
Very
What does that
true.
mean for me? So I feel like if they want that from us, they need to build that trust.
Definitely.
And I've said this, I think nearly every podcast we've filmed so far, that some of those boxes it's not even me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't even fit into these boxes.
Exactly.
So I am the one that would tick other, because I identify as other. So as in my blackness and where my people come from. So I don't fit into a box here. Do you know what I mean? So go on.
It would be really good if they just had a box where you can actually identify yourself right there. How about that? And add that. Because the fact that you put other, you can't actually
what does
do
that mean?
anything with it, really. Let's be honest. There's a lot of people that will have different skin tones that will be in that other box, and we're all going to be just mixing that. Yeah. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed on a lot of these things that are being put out for us to fill out.
I definitely agree. But I'm not happy that I don't feel like there's not enough about early years in this.
And I was going to say that. I was waiting, you know what I mean?
It's very maternity.
Yeah. The early years in itself, like, is a sector that's really overlooked. Do you know what I'm saying? Its importance. Like, the early years is the foundation to all learning, all learning. Even when you go to do your teacher's degree, one of the first things you learn is child development, you know? And that's what you're taught in the early years, and just the way that, you know, children develop cognitively, physically and such. I think one thing that's really needed, like, within, like, well, it's each borough, is a mainframe that we all can use. Like, because a lot of the time data is lost. Children fall between the cracks. And I've seen it. I've helped with TACT meetings. I've helped with assessments and the education health plans and such. And I'm sitting down in these rooms, you know, they're like, oh, what do you know about the child? This and that, the third. And then obviously the child moves on and we don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And a lot of the time the parents are having to deal with stuff themselves. Children are discharged early.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they've done speech and language, they're doing all right. Boom, there's no follow on. And then they go into secondary school, primary school, secondary school, and it's a nightmare, you know. But with the early years, you know, a lot of the time people think children just go to nursery so parents can work. When there's a lot of teaching, there's a lot of theory behind the practice, you know. The pedagogy is deep, the guidance is deep. There's so many different types of guidance out there to help support the development of our little ones, you know. So and children thrive. Like when a child goes to nursery, you know, they have a better start off. You know, on the educational front, like they're really advanced. Their language, their behavior, you know, the whole social side. It really does help them. So I think there could be a few more bits about early years.
You know, it's quite crazy what you said, like about nursery. A lot of people just think it's just childcare so that you can go out and work to pay the bill,
to pay for nursery,
for the nursery bill, you know. But it's not. It is a great starting place for your child, and even if like you don't send your child to nursery, it's about doing that same learning with your child at home. Making sure you kind of install that in your child from early. A simple thing like recognizing colors, shapes, all of those things, they're all easy. Like YouTube, same example, especially like this is the generation of technology. YouTube, they have lessons on all these things if you feel that you can't, because a lot of people feel like, no, I'm not the teaching kind, which is fine. It's good to acknowledge that from early. That way you know, okay, I then need to do this for my child. Because there's an assumption that, when a child comes back from school or college, whatever, they're sitting down with their parents, you know, going through their work. That's a big assumption. Like you have parents that are just like on the heels of their children, which is great. But you also got parents that don't feel confident enough to feel like actually I can support from a distance. I can't support right there at the table and be like, I know what you're talking about, because actually I don't. And it's now not a case of knowing all the information. It's about being there and supporting. Okay, I know I can't do this, but what do you need me to do for you to get this? If there's a project that needs to be done, should I help you research and stuff like that? All those bases right there from the very beginning. So say for example, I've got a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. Anything that the 6-year-old is learning, that 3-year-old is also learning the same thing. Just because of your age, that's not a factor in this matter. You understand? We're all doing it all together. And for a parent, say for example, haven't been in education for a really long time, it's great. We're relearning. We're keeping up. And you can simply read something the day before because you know that the teacher has said this is what we're going to be learning. I'm ready. That's me. I'm ready.
So I'm just smiling because I'm thinking you wait till secondary school, when they bring home the maths homework and you're like, but
you know what it also is? It's also about like sort of building those habits as well. Like so for example, like not neglecting the fact that not everything's academic, but it all ties in the same way.
Exactly.
If I take you shopping, all right, cool. You said you want fruits. All right, cool. Well, you got
it's a learning experience.
There's a weight to the fruits. So how much are the weight of the fruits and how much you think it's going to cost? All right, cool. Well, this was this much. So hold it in your hand, estimate. There's 100, like you drive. Okay, cool. Jump on a bus one day because actually there may be some element of like education in that. Whatever it is, like there's always an element of you can do something, but it's like what I try and say to people is don't belittle how much you can do. Because that what you think is nothing may actually be like an amazing learning curve for this child foundationally. And what you said about people feeling not very confident is absolutely true. And I would say there's so many other ways that they can like bring out that education in their own special way that will tie in. You know,
definitely.
And that's what we pushed. Like during COVID, we were telling parents, listen, you're not teachers. Do you get what I'm saying? And we were providing them with slides and activities and stuff like that, like just so they can do something enriching with their child at home. And like you said, like purposeful conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like really involving your child. Like one of the first things I did before I bought my son, any clothes, any toys, was bought in books.
Yeah.
Now I say book, goes to the bookshelf, gets his book, and he sits down and read. Like my cousin's like, "Raw, like, cuz, like, why are you doing this? Like, how's he just sitting there?" I said, "Cuz, before he was born, I bought him a bag of books." Do you get what I'm saying? And we set their habits, you know.
Yeah, we do.
You get me?
Yeah.
And I heard someone talk about this the other day. They said this age of children, like this generation, you know, got that Gen Z and all that. This is the tablet generation.
Yeah, it is.
You know, where they're sitting down with iPad, computer, watching Bluey. I like Bluey. You know what I mean? Watching these programs, and you know they're getting their enrichment from that, but there has to be a balance, innit?
Has to be a balance.
It's like, you know, like earlier you were talking about children that were born like in after, like during COVID, after COVID. Like there's a small thing that I started seeing people do a lot, and I do it myself. Children that were born after COVID do this like with the phone. They don't put it to their ear. Because they're always waiting to see somebody on the screen. That's how used to it they are.
Absolutely.
So it's like, what's this? Like, you don't do that, or you put it now on loudspeaker. Well, there's different things. They've got a different way of doing things. So now schools have to really think about their way of doing things, because this new generation, they are different. And you can't teach the same. You cannot teach the same. So it's now, okay, actually, we need to sit, look, listen, and adjust. Because if you don't, we're going to have a lot more children not in education, not actually learning, and just being there for being their sake. And that's not good enough. That is not good enough. And we already know, being in a classroom, whether it's 30 children, 25, not every child is going to be seen or heard, regardless. You understand? You have the children that put up their hands, and you have the children that don't. And you're going to get that everywhere you go. So it's the same with these children. These children, they all don't learn the same. And yes,
absolutely,
the schooling don't cater to different types of learning. It only caters to one. So it's adjusting and recognizing. And for parents, I understand being a parent. We all don't do the same thing. We all try our best, you know, and do what's best for our child. But now, and these data results, we've got to do just a little bit more. Just watch. Even just watch.
Agree.
So.
Absolutely agree.
I like what you said, like, Akilah, about like adapting, like learning children's, like their learning style, you know. In early years, like there's like 4, I call them pillars, innit? But there's like 4 steps to the approach of the EYFS. And the first one is the unique child, you know, understanding the child, their likes, their dislikes, and what their story is, and then meeting them where they're at. And then from that, the second one is a positive relationship. Because you know the child and the child knows that you know them, you then can build a relationship. And then the step after that is create an enabling environment. And then learning can take place. Those fundamentals should be carried throughout the learning process. But it sometimes gets lost because of just the way that, you know, the curriculum is structured in primary school and in secondary school. And there's all these league tables and results and all these kind of things. So it's a different kind of pressure, you know, and I feel like children need to have more freedom, you know, to learn the way that they want to learn. That's why Scandinavian countries, man, they got this thing down to a T. Because children have more freedom. They're outdoors, learning from nature, going in forest schools and all these kind of things, fishing and chopping trees, and you know what I'm saying? You know, whereas us, we're confined, you know, into the
that social element is missing.
All right, guys. So we've come to the end of our filming session. Thank you both so much for coming on today. I'm gonna make sure that we add MVP details so people can
Yes.
get in touch with you.
Definitely.
Your details as well, and your book links. And also as well, I say this a lot to individuals, but obviously we're speaking about BLACHIR here, and we need to, as a community, a Lewisham community, don't just look at this podcast or read this report. Actually go to the committee meetings, find out what is happening, what the developments are, what public health are doing, what the councillors are doing to progress things forward for us. Because I feel like we will shout about things not getting done, but we're not going to these meetings and finding out when the things are actually being embedded and implemented. Again, we'll add all the links into the description as well. But yeah, thank you both for coming on today. It's been amazing.
It's been a massive learning.
Yeah,
Massive
literally.
learning. Even as you are talking, sometimes I think to myself, that's a trailer. That's a roll. I got that perfect. So yeah, but everyone, thank you for joining us. I hate saying I'm just not even from. I'm not even
like,
from that
comment,
world,
and
but like, subscribe. Like, it just helps with the engagement. So if you can share it, the more you engage with posts, the more people are able to engage with this kind of content that you never know who it may help. Do you know what I mean? So
Definitely.
Each one to each one.
each one to each one.
All right, guys.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's one.